Welcome back to Lotus on Track. As the September sun begins to lower in the sky, we can turn our attention to the Lotus Cup UK.
Hi Rob, so can you tell us how you got on in qualifying?
Yeah, we managed to snip pole right at the end there. The team were staying pretty quiet. I assumed to keep me focused, but I heard over the radio that Ken was a couple of tenths ahead. I was struggling to see where it came, but we just got a clear lap right at the end there, and it was enough to do the job.
Hi Ken, so you've just been out for qualifying. Can you tell us where you came and how you got on?
I came second to Rob, our cameraman. It was a good qualifying. I got a pole. I was the fastest early on. Then I heard on the radio somewhere towards the end that Rob had just pipped me for the pole. I don't think there was much in it though.
Yeah, I finished third today in qualifying. It was slightly disappointing after this morning's practice. It was quickest in practice. I think I overdrove a little bit today in qualifying, but still happy with third, second row on the grid. So yeah, it's good.
We're here on the grid at Donington, and as you can see, the cars are ready to go out for the penultimate Lotus Cup UK race of the season. We've had perfect weather conditions today, so let's see how they get on.
Absolutely huge field of cars assembled here at Donington Park, with Rob Fenn heading them in pole position alongside him on the front row of the grid. Ken Savage, then row 2, Steve Train, Freddie Hetherington from Jamie Stanley and Marcus Jewell. Andy Napier well up amongst the production class runners in 15th from Andrew Wright, Mike Vase and Stuart Plotneck. John the Master rounding out the top 20. Watch Random Gore down in 29th. He is a very quick driver, as is Simon Deacon, who completes the 30 runners. Penultimate race of the season, rolling start as ever, as away they go. It's a good start from Ken Savage. It's getting quite tight, and Tom Chatway goes firing off the road and clouts into the concrete wall. That's a nasty incident for Chatway, and it means the field's rather split itself with those behind taking evasive action. You can see him moving in the car. Imagine that he's feeling very, very sore off. That was a nasty impact. This is Marcus Jewell who's taken the early advantage. You can see how low the sun's already getting. It's going to be very lengthy 60 minutes for these drivers. They do, of course, a mandatory pit stop midway through the race as Jamie Stanley's picked his way past Jeff Marlam. So it's Jewell who has won extensively in the Lotus on Track Elite Trophy, going from strength to strength, just to 11 clear of Ken Savage and Rob Fenn, who slipped down to third, having started in pole position. The rest of the field all streaming through, but the safety car, not unsurprisingly, has come out. The race being neutralised. Let's hope that Tom Chatway is okay. There he is, in the process of getting himself out of the car under his own steam, which is good to see, because it was a very, very nasty hit. Let's see what happens. Away they went, and Tom actually making a very good start, trying to jump the row in front, making contact with Jamie Stanley, who was possibly unsighted with the blind spot in his rearview mirror. Chataway thumps into the wall. The car absorbs the impact as it should. The safety car pulls in, the race gets underway, and Marcus Jewell already trying to set about pulling out the advantage over Ken Savage. Up to third has come Steve Train, so it's an all-2-11 top 3. It's Rob Fenn with Jamie Stanley asking all sorts of questions in the exige. Fenn looking for another very solid run here, but he'll be disappointed to drop down to fourth, having qualified in pole. But you can really see just how difficult the visibility is getting for these drivers. For them, this section through the Crane of Curves is okay, because actually driving away from the sun. It's more when they climb back up through Coppice and McLean, the sun will be streaming into the visors, and those that haven't gone with the tinted visor, we're finding things very difficult. Certainly Steve Train, though, seems to be relishing these conditions. He's found a way past Ken Savage, who's immediately chasing down Jewell. We've got Rob Fenn running fourth in the Go Green Motorsport car, trying to stay in touch with the 211s. The reigning champion Steve Train, showing very strongly in these early stages. One of these drivers who normally comes good the second half of the race, Steve Train, but he's got to his pace. And a problem for Marcus Jewell. He must have missed a gear there, because he gets swamped by those behind as Steve Train takes the lead. Ken Savage squeezes through as well, and Rob Fenn attempts to. Jewell, though, able to recover it, and that means that Rob Fenn is under considerable pressure from Jamie Stanley and also Jeff Milam, who's trying to insert himself into that group, as well as Freddie Hetherington. Hetherington, the yellow car, the inside line into the Belmont Loop, gains the position. He passed on like 3 cars in one go. Then it's Rob Fenn who's losing out and is really being shuffled down. So they all jink a jostle position again in the context of not having the greatest visibility. Let's have another look then at this moment for Marcus Jewell. Onto the straight he comes, and the car just suddenly slows. Either he had a misfire or possibly missed a gear. Either way, it's cost him lead the race and has slipped him somewhat into the clutches of Jamie Stanley, Freddie Hetherington and Rob Fenn. It means that Steve Train and Ken Savage have been able to make good their escape ahead of the pack. And again Marcus Jewell suffers down the straight, really struggling for straight line speed. It could just be he's not able to engage top gear. That could be part of it, because it's as if the car just hits its rev limit and won't go any faster. So he gets passed by Jamie Stanley. In the production class, as expected, Adam Gore scything his way up through the field. That's Andrew Wright, who he's passed, and Wright, a driver we've seen on the production podium more than once this year. That's an indication of just how quickly Gore is going. So the leading duo, Train and Savage, breaking clear of this fight for third. And it's now Jamie Stanley who is to the fore in that tussle. Just clear of Rob Fenn and Freddie Hetherington as they hit the brakes into Redgate, and Fenn dives inside Jamie Stanley, who again ruthlessly chops across, maintains third position. Stanley taking the racing line at Redgate. It's a far tighter corner than maybe could be appreciated from the camera shot. For external position is that Freddie Hetherington now taking his turn to chase down Rob Fenn as well. They're all just beginning to cast their eye towards pit stops as Stanley now has a wobble out of the old hairpin and gets repassed by Rob Fenn. Head of the field though, Steve Train, clear of Ken Savage, and trying to move clear Andrew Wright and Stuart Plotneck doing battle in the production class. The red car of Wright just clear of the white car. Plotneck, they are chasing down Andy Napier as the pit stops start, and father and son combo, Doug and Chris Setters, switch around. Anthony Dunn is busy waiting, as is Steve Guglielmi to take over from Jeff Milam. Chris Setters rejoins the action. The pit lane at Donington Park gets very busy. Some of the cars opting to refuel as well at this mid-race interlude. The change gets underway for Streasure and Chris Mayhew. Dave Cart remains in situ. Rob Fenn gets his tyre pressures checked and adjusted as Marcus Jewell rejoins the action. Fuel for Jamie Stanley in the Exige, the GT truck tyre car. David Harvey sits poised and ready in his 340R to rejoin the action as Ken Savage jogs away. His 211 gets topped up with fuel. We can head down to the pits to hear from Steve Train.
Steve, how was the first half of the race for you?
Yeah, it's not bad, it's quite good. It's all going well. Track's quite good, there's plenty of grip out there, so got to get on with it now.
The leader's about to rejoin the action. Jamie Stanley heads out on track, but what about Steve Train and Ken Savage? Who will leave first? There they are, ready to go, and it's Train who gets waved off. Clear of Savage, they've now got the race to the flag.
So you've just been out for the first half of the Lotus Cup UK race. How did you find the track at Donington?
I love Donington. I haven't been here for a while, but we got a good start. I jumped 2 places, but then lost them as we went on. Had a lock up down the back at the Melbourne hairpin. Lost another 2 places, but come in where I started virtually. And Steve's out there now, and he's doing quite well.
Hi, so how did the first half of the Cup UK race go for you?
Well, very well. The safety car was a boring bit, of course, but once that was out of the way, then it was very pleasant. Really nice out there.
Just been out for the first half of the Lotus Cup UK race. How did you find the track today?
Oh, the track's awesome. A little bit dirty from weekend. It's been a long weekend. Obviously, hopefully Tom's okay. A bit of a shunt on the start line there, but we've just modified the car and everything, and it's really encouraging. It's going quite well.
As we move into the latter stages of the race, then still everything to race for, and it's Steve Train who leads the way from Ken Savage. Jamie Stanley, who emerged from the pits of the field, has been given a 2-lap penalty for a shorter than allowed pit stop. So it is Train and Savage doing battle, and Ken Savage trying to get onto terms with Steve Train. But as dusk really begins to fall, it is Train who leads the way. Rob Fenn encounters all sorts of problems running in the midfield It's just been one of those days and really one of those seasons for Rob Fenn. Have a replay of into Fuchs yeses, and Andrew Napier pushes a little bit too hard. Andy Napier buried in the gravel trap at the Fuchs yeses. Ken Savage still coming back towards Steve Train, but he's rapidly running out of time here as daylight begins to fall here at Donington Park. Preparation for the Lotus Cup UK finale night race at Snetterton in a few weeks' time. The Lotus Cup UK dusk race is going to go the way of Steve Train, who takes the victory by just over 2 seconds from Ken Savage, who's chased him all the way to the line. And in the production class, it's Adam Gore from the very, very back of the grid who's raced his way up through the field, and he is going to claim production honours and a place in the overall top 10 in the race. Very, very impressive stuff that from Adam Gore as the rest of the field sprint through across the line. Receive the applause from the pit wall. Steve Train, though, a very, very fruitful visit to Donington Park. Let's have a look then at the results. First of all, the Super Sport runners with Steve Train victorious from Ken Savage and Simon Deacon. Marcus Jewell in 4th, 211s locking out the top 4 places from Jeff Milam and Steve Guglielmi. So in terms of the groups then, 211s, Steve Train from Ken Savage and Simon Deacon. Amongst the open runners, Jeff Milam and Steve Guglielmi from David Harvey, then BJ Chong and Paul McNeely. And in the exiges, it is Jamie Stanley from Williams and Bartlett, and then Tina Cock. In the production class, Adam Gore claiming the win from Andrew Wright, and then Mike Vase in 3rd after dramas for Andy Napier late in the race. John the Master in 4th from Davison and Dunn. Excellent racing throughout the field at Donington Park.
Steve, first place overall, congratulations. Was it a smooth race for you?
Yeah, pretty much so. Got into the lead fairly early on after the safety car and just sort of, put my head down and got on with it really. I didn't really get tangled up with anyone, and it was a nice easy race really. Didn't have to push too hard, and it was quite comfortable. Good race.
Jamie, first place in exige class. Was it an enjoyable race for you?
Yeah, it was okay. Obviously a few problems. Unfortunately, we had a bit of damage at the start, which made life a bit interesting, but managed to nurse the car all the way to the end and still beat our guys, which should set up for a good season finale at Snetterton.
Steve, first place, congratulations in open class. Was it an enjoyable race for you?
Yeah, it was. We had a real disappointment of brands. Both our cars, one ours in the open class and the Elise Trophy car, driven by Steve Porter and Phil Chatterton. Neither of us finished, all involved in the same accident with a third party, which was a disappointment. We only finished our car yesterday. We've done no testing. We make it as hard as it can be, but we've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been great.
With just one round to go, there is everything to race for in the Supersport Championship. Simon Deacon is just 7 points clear of Jamie Stanley, with Ken Savage and Steve Train very much in the hunt. And in the Production Championship, it's pretty tight as well. Andy Napier leads the way by 10 points from Stuart Plotneck, with Adam Gore in 4th.
That's it from us here at Donington. Join us next time for the last races of the season over at Snetterton.